Hello and welcome to the 19th BOH Cameronian Arts Awards on set. I am Sabrina Hassan, and with me today we have the nominees for Best Production Values in the Music category. Welcome everybody and congratulations on your nominations.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Hi. Thank you for coming. Right, so I have a general question for all of you. Right, what sacrifices have you made for the arts? That's okay, right? Why not? Yes.
I think
Time?
yes.
Confirm it's time, right?
Time?
Yeah.
Sacrifice. But in terms of what? Like time?
I think when we create art, we put a lot of time behind the scene. Usually, even not even going to the process. It's just talking about the process of doing the performance ke, the music ke whatnot kan. And kita sentiasa rasa utamakan keluarga lah, utamakan kerja. So now we have passion that we have to put. Where should we put? Is it work? Is it passion? Sometimes it's part of your career kan. So it's never easy to balance your passion, your family, your work, and arts in between. Yeah.
I think we sacrifice we give our soul into it. A lot of times, in order to get into the scene, we need to spend a lot of time out of the rehearsals, out of practice. We need to really venture in the field in order to get ourselves really into the art scene. So other than the time in the classes, studios, there's a lot more actually.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, like sacrificing your soul?
If you like what you're doing, I don't think it matters. If you love what you're doing it. You're doing what you love, you know what I mean? But time equals money. So when you say sacrifice time, you're actually sacrificing money as well, because we don't get paid by the hour for all the extra time that you put in to make the art as close to perfection as possible. Perfect doesn't exist, but you know, as close as it gets.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think that's what it is to me.
Well, for Dondang Dongeng, you and Sarah were both involved in that production, right?
Yes.
So how did you use production and technical theatre to give this this modern take on these folk tales? How do you make it engaging for the audience?
Shall I?
Do you want to answer it first?
Okay, yeah. I guess from where I am looking at it, the most important part was the songs, because one of the aspects that we really want to hit was to make it accessible to children today, who's used to screen and not the big screen. So the song's got to be accessible. It's got to be short enough, not long enough. It has to be the right ingredients, the right melody, beat. Of course, this is a sound side lah, and so that was one of the hardest things to do. And I think everyone in the team did a great job of trying to make it just bite-sized. Even the length of the show is 1 hour, just about 1 hour, just enough time, and then you can see the kids start to get and see. So that was, I think everybody did a great job in sculpting that from the songwriting to the arrangements to the selection of instruments to sound choices, and even the sound at the theatre. We couldn't make it too boomy, we can't make it like a club. So it's just enough.
Why couldn't you make it like at the club?
It gets loud, and when it's loud, then maybe kids might start talking over it or start screaming, and then you might miss the next cue or something, next scene or something, So we had to make it just enough. So everybody had a say in all of this, and I think we did all right.
For me, when it comes to the costume design and styling, so it was very important for us to kind of have very classic traditional looks, but also infused with something contemporary. So we did a lot of research, So of course we took references from visual archives. We revisited the stories of the folklores. So we tried to find a way to sort of make it more modern. So for instance, the dominant fabric that we used was Malaysian batik by Batik Dektura. So instead of going for, the usual floral motifs, we went with something a bit more contemporary. So it's very abstract. It's still bold and colorful, but more on the arts abstract. Yeah. So that was like the sort of stuff that we did with the costume and styling. Yeah. So we had a lot of that.
Yeah. How did you factor in, because the performers were dancing as well, right, throughout. So how did that affect the costume design?
We had to minimize accessories for sure because they were not able to move a lot. But also in terms of the design of the costume, we made it very simple, very easy to put on and very easy to take off as well. Because for some of the characters, they did have a few outfit changes. So that was one of the things that we had to consider.
Omar and Diana, we mentioned just now about how Pengbaran Satu Malam was in the round, right? So you had your musicians in the center and then the audience around it, right? So what challenges did you face really in staging it that way?
I think from the beginning, when we were talking about this collaboration, we were informed of the venue, which is this big warehouse. So yes, it's acoustic, but also it's too big. So we had to kind of have a discussion with them how to kind of connect the surrounding with the concept that we have. So we worked with Super Codex for the lights, and we worked with No to Scale for the scaffoldings, the installations.
Installation artist.
So that installation also represents the circle. So it has an Islamic theme to it. So we are going anti-clockwise in the circle. It's also in a circle going 7 floors of the langit. So being in that circle, sound-wise, it helps us contain the sound within only the scaffolding area. If it's too big, the warehouse area, although it's acoustic, is really nice. But when it's too big, then it will kind of dissolve and kind of get muffled. So when we first visited the venue, the first part, before we even go into the songs, were how do we make this space work for our instruments?
So the scaffolding was also a choice that you made particularly to kind of contain the sound?
Because this production is a collaboration whereby Super Codex adalah multimedia artist and then Not to Scale adalah installation artist. So they put scaffolding in such a way that's kind of round, and then we've been discussing quite a lot macam where to put the gamelan, because gamelan is around 8 instruments. We decided to put 8 instruments, and then should we put here or there in the middle, one note, and then in the end we decided let's make it circular, so inward, but the audience will be behind us. So meaning in a way that they will feel what we feel as musicians, so they can feel the vibration at the same time. So with the lights around us and the smokes and whatnot. So that's why I think the pertemuan beberapa medium tu kan, the mixed media tu, it works lah, I think, in a way.
The concept. And it helps that the space is big, so the scaffolding can fit in the space without it feeling too crowded. And somehow it works because we made the show open to all. So with the extra space, kids can come, so they can run around, and it's still safe for them. They don't want to sit throughout the show, they can just run around and play lah. So I think somehow along the way, the concept kind of just, the more discussion we had about the concepts, it just comes together perfectly. Yeah.
And how did the lights help with the performance and making it immersive?
Okay. There 7 compositions, 7 music. So there are some performance whereby Super Codec buat apa kita panggil? Sensors. So meaning bila kita main some instrument, the lights will respond with the sound of the instruments.
All right.
So maybe
They are also doing it manually, so they know our songs. So the lights every day is actually different, depending on, because they come to our rehearsal, they have to listen to our songs, so which are the peaks and what's the up and down. So they know exactly how to run the lights, so the lights go exactly as per our songs. Yeah.
Manual or auto lah. So there are some songs that maybe the instrument go ting ting tong. Exactly the lights like So we were so excited because they were lights response, right? That's how, yeah, it was exciting.
Pulsing against what music we're making lah. So it was a good experience for us as well as the audience, because they kind of, the sound and the vibration that they feel, they kind of they get it visually as well from the lights. So it was kind of very new experience lah.
It was surreal for us musicians as well. I mean, doing the music and the light response is just something unique lah.
Yeah. So, Cayman, in terms of like Voyage 2023, it was staged overseas as well. Am I right, Oliver?
Some of the songs we were repeated in the repertoire that we went overseas for a competition and festivals. Yes.
Yeah, it was like a presentation because before we prepare for the recital, we actually done an audition for an international choir festival. So we actually, when we submit the audition, we don't know whether we will get it or not. But it is very clear that our conductor already set a tone that on that year, our productions, it needs to be introducing to the public what are the different range of choral music is. Yeah, because because in Malaysia actually it's not so common to have like a choir concert, and especially it's presented by a community choir. Because usually when you go concert, it's either you go sekolah menengah or you go. People will ask, "You're from church ke?" The church choir, you always sing those like sacred song, but actually there are like different kinds of range. So which is why teacher presented us that we designed the program in a sense that first part actually is we introduce the origin of the choral, which is from the sacred music in churches, and then we move on to like the modern songs, like to the English song, which I'm more familiar with, like Broadway-ish, and then we go to folk song, and when we say folk song, we are not just like just sing it. We have to like went into the culture. So like we do like a Dikir Barat song. The song name is Ewa Bule. We also do like Lengang Kangkong. We also do like introduce pieces from like Indonesia, like and also in Philippines also. Yeah. So like when people come to us to see, so that they're able to like the choral music actually have different spectrum. Yeah.
And in terms of production values, like how was that incorporated into the presentation when you brought it overseas?
I think one of the things that we got like a lot of compliments from the other choirs from the other world is our costume. We actually spend quite a money in the costume because we realized that in Malaysia, we are Chinese. Most of us are Chinese, but we are representing Malaysia. How do we bring Malaysia identity to the international stage? We couldn't just bring the Chinese side, right? So we hired a local fashion designer. We discussed through quite a long time. Then we decided to merge ingredients from different races into one costume. So we had like batik and songket as our jacket, something like that, in the front piece, and the inner piece we use sari. In the sari, then the cutting is from Chinese traditional cutting, like cheongsam and also the collar thing. So. And also the shirt itself, the costume itself is you can wear.
It's a reversible.
Reversible.
Oh.
It's there will be even the songket is reversible, so that when it's like we want to differentiate a different themes or in different sections, then we will just taruh tukar then just go up like.
So yeah, we wear like 4 combinations of colors.
Jual lah, saya beli. You should sell lah.
Limited lah.
So when we bring it to the international stage, right? You can see very clearly our uniqueness, our character as Malaysian. So yeah, because when we compare to Indonesian and Philippines, right, their costume is so. I mean, very. You can say
wow.
Yeah,
it's
wow.
Like outshining. All the emas, all the thing on their hand for us, like, we it's like you know that you need a lot of investment onto that costume in order to to be professional. Yeah.
But yeah, it is the uniqueness about our culture that makes us attractive as a people, and that is what people overseas is definitely something that is sellable overseas, right?
I also like the fact that they're reversible because that's very sustainable. So even with the costumes that we did for Dondang Dongeng, we tried to be as sustainable as we could. So we use a lot of upcycled materials, secondhand clothes. So we rewear, refashion, and reuse. So we tried not to create a lot of waste in the production of the costume. So I really like that idea, the reversible, because you can wear it
In different
in
occasions.
many different
Yeah,
ways.
correct.
Yeah.
Is that important as well to you to make costumes that are sustainable? Yeah.
Yes, actually. I mean, I think as of maybe 2-3 years ago, I started to be more sustainable in my practice. So it's very important to me because you see where the clothes go to. You know, at the end of the day, they all go to the landmines. And there is more than one use for a costume. If you can change the design, make it into a different look, you can use it for a different purpose, you know? So for instance, Ryan and Didi in Dondang Dongeng, they actually wore like a baju Melayu sets, which we actually made from a baju kurung kedah, for instance.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like finding creative ways to change one design to another to fit a character. So I think it's really important to do that.
What do you think about criticism, right? And have you received, some good criticism, or can you share some feedback that has affected you in your work?
Who's gonna answer it?
I can start first. Basically, our choir received a lot of criticism during our performance and also competitions. I think the competitions where because the judges are from international, that's where we know our standard is. So we also cross cultural exchange from the other choirs, right? And we know what our weakness and our strength. So even after concerts, we went to different master classes from different conductors, also overseas. So in order to know what could we improve in the next concerts or next productions, I think it's very important for us to have those criticisms.
I just have additional question. How far does a critique go? I mean, we get a lot of criticism as well, but where do you put the limit of this is constructive criticism and this is just you talking nonsense? Sorry. So how do you kind of balance it? I mean, for us being a Malay gamelan group, there's not much really in teams as in groups that are playing in the market. So whenever we do something kind of out of scope or out of the traditional, there's always people talking like, oh, dah lupa diri, like, or dah lupa daratan, or you forgot what the traditional. But there's always a time of place and good timing and bad timing for certain things. So how do you kind of balance, constructive criticism, things that you can really take in and things you just kind of brush off?
Maybe if you look at what you're doing as goal-based, your goal is to take it out of the traditional, and people are saying that, oh, it's not traditional, then it's duh.
Right?
So that's how you weed out, because you have a goal in mind. You have this is what you want to achieve. And if people are saying, oh, you are not traditional, well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So then you can weed out, the not useful ones, I guess.
Yeah. And I think in that sense, it's also very important to remember that you're not trying to replace traditions, but you're just trying to see how traditions can also coexist in this contemporary urban world. So as like the newer generations come, they want to try to explore and experiment this. So I think that is the main thing. Yeah.
Have you received any constructive feedback that has helped you?
Well, not Dondang Dongeng, but I think in general, what I do a lot of research, especially when it comes to something cultural, because there's a lot of pantang larang. There's a lot of things that you cannot touch when it comes to tradition. So for me, it is just being aware on critics about that. Yeah, because there will be people who will say you cannot do this because this is totally not allowed. So it's a matter of how you take that and sort of come up with a creative way to kind of create something new, but still in being respectful to
Yep.
traditions. Yeah.
I think it's regarding on tradition. It's more like we are continuing for the traditions. It's not like
Yeah.
we are like throw out or from this
Yes.
and it is also like even for us when we do our song, we do the DK Barat. We are honored. We are honored to back to their traditions. Like because they usually sing on floor. Then we sing our floor. But at the same time also because when we hear, let's say we hear this Malay song, we have like maybe a different definition, which is also stay on call to that song also. So we would like to like present like also to the public that this is for us. This is what we want to present when we think about this song, like this Malay song. How is it? So I don't think we are separating from tradition too much. We are actually just to keep on exploring.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
honor it, right?
Yeah, to honor
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's almost like a catch-22. It's like if you do the same thing, say, tak ada modal lain ke? But then if you do something new, why you go away from the tradition?
There's always such person
So
that
you need to have I mean not you. I mean we all need to have kind of like a muka tebal a bit, and like just okay. But again,
I mean,
like
we're in the
said,
performing arts lah.
Yeah.
You're on stage, muka tebal anyway.
yeah.
That's all. Just make it till you make it.
I think it's quite clear lah. It's like when you see the comment is like it's just from an expression of emotion, then confirm that one is not constructive feedback lah. Because if it's a feedback, then it's confirmed it's a feedback like, oh, maybe there are some parts. They will give you suggestion how to make on it. Always lah. If it's just like, oh, I just don't like it, then of course you don't like it, then you just move on to the next one lah.
You don't go watch other show lah.
Don't like lah.
It's not for everyone, right? Yeah. Wait for us as well.
Rick Rubin, I don't know if you know him, he's a very famous producer. He very recently he mentioned something that stirred me, and he said when you do something and if everybody likes it, he doesn't know if that's successful or not. Especially since it's art. When you have people who like it and people who don't like it, that means it stirred enough emotions for people to not like it just as well as to like it. So good and bad, I think they're all good. I personally think so.
Depends on how you take it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your nominations again.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you for watching.